Hi, Dave from Integrate Pro, and I want to show you in this video how to set up an autoresponder series inside ActiveCampaign that's proactive. And what I mean by that is you want to make sure that the people who sign up for your emails are receiving them and then actually doing something with them versus just keep sending and sending and sending a series of emails that don't get consumed. So rather than do that, we want to set up automations that send off the same email until something happens. For instance, they open the email, they click on a link, they reply. It's too easy just to set up a series of emails that go out over time and not measure what happens. So instead, what I suggest is you set up an automation for each email in your autoresponder series. So a typical autoresponder series might look like this, where it's somehow people get added. It might be they fill out a form, they subscribe, or they get a tag added. Those could all be ways of getting somebody to get added to an automation. So I'm just going to do, I'm not even going to put anything, but that's what you can do, something like that. And then normally people would send out an email, wait a day or wait whatever, send out another email, and just do that over time until the automation or the autoresponders ended. That's okay. It works. It's worked in the past. And really that's all we really had at one time. But now we can measure behavior and see what people are actually doing and then decide on what to do next. So this is how I would approach sending off an autoresponder series. And if you noticed, I've named this email 1. There's going to be another automation called email 2, email 3, etc. for all the emails I'm sending out. So first thing I like to do is actually tag somebody. So let's add a tag, and I think I've already created one called profile, and it's probably going to be the last one, email 1. So in other words, I know they're inside this automation, so I want to tag them as such. And I usually just throw in a 5-minute wait whenever somebody gets added to an automation. I know that sounds kind of weird, but in case something goes wrong or I want something to sync up before they actually start their email. For instance, if they've got put into a system and a password needs to get put into ActiveCampaign, I want to give it like 5 minutes for that to happen. So good practice just to stick a wait period in there. So I've got the wait, I've tagged the person as being in this automation, and then I'm going to go and send my email. So no big deal, I've got an email, it's called email 1A. Again, I'm kind of keeping this naming so I can understand where people are at. And I'm going to wait a day, and I'm going to go ahead and set this up so I basically send the same email, but it's probably got a slight variation. So if I go look at it, I think I changed the subject line, and that's it. That's all I did. Actually, I can't even see that in here, but basically I just want to repeat the same email, maybe some slight variations on the subject line or the first few lines of the email, and then keep going on. So I'm going to actually add another one. Instead of waiting one day, maybe let's wait until the next weekday at 8 a.m. in the contact's time zone. And maybe they signed up at 10 p.m. at night and they're not getting to check their email the next night at 10 p.m. So let's try something different. Let's wait for specific conditions are met. So let's say date and time, current day of the week, current day of the week. No, we don't want to do it in hours. Let's do current day of the week is, let's do a weekday, and let's say current time, current day of the week, current time in the contact's time zone is, let's say, 8 a.m. So we want to make sure they're getting the email on a weekday, 8 a.m. Maybe for your audience, more appropriate to do the weekend, but you can do that so that these two conditions have to be met. Then we'll send basically the same email that we've sent Let's see, I don't think I need to do this, but I'm going to wait, let's say up to 7 days, just to be safe. Not needed, but I'm going to do it anyways. Now let's send out another version of that same email. So I am going to send an email. I'm actually going to create a new one based off of the last one. And it's not going to be email 1C. And I like to just pick off previous emails I've used. It just makes it so much easier to edit the template to get it the way you look. So checking in, I don't know, still interested. Oops, I'll come back and change that. So I'm going to put a question mark there at the end. Okay, not going to change anything. Actually, let's try something. This is, hey, this course ends on, and I'm going to put in, let's do this. I'm going to put in a little HTML block that I can put in like a countdown timer. So let's see here. But keep in mind, this course ends on, and let's go insert a HTML block right here. And I'm going to put a countdown timer just to kind of encourage them. So if I go here, go to countdown, and let's just use one that I've already created versus coming up with a new one. So let's say this guy's retirement. And I'm just going to copy this here. And so, yeah, I'm making things that are slightly different because I really want to get people to consume this content before we go on to the next step. So I'm making it a little more, a little bit tougher. I'm saying, hey, look, there's a time limit to this. So I'm going to just save and exit. But I can keep repeating that basically with the same email over and over and over again until, well, either they've done what I've asked, which is, in this case, I'm just going to make it so that all I'm looking for is them to open the email. Maybe in the second email, it'll be actually click a link. Maybe on the third email, it'll be reply to me. Those type of things we can wait for. So we're waiting for people's behavior to dictate what we're going to do. So let's do that. Let's say we're going to try it 3 times. And we're going to set a goal so that anytime somebody opens any one of those emails, they get pushed through and they don't receive any more of those first 3 emails. So let's go to, we're going to set a goal. I'm going to say open email 1. Let's go ahead and say what exactly we want. It should be under actions, has opened. No, we want to have 1A, 1B, 1C. So let's start with that. And then we want to cover the other one, so it's going to be an or situation. Has opened. Let's do has opened. Email 1B. Or has opened email 1C. So there. And the way this works is, and I'm going to actually, let's leave this here, That's perfect. So basically we're saying if any of these emails are opened, 1A, 1B, or 1C, then skip down to the bottom here. So in other words, if they open email 1A, they're not going to see 1B, 1C. This isn't necessarily the best thing, because what if, like Google opens their email, or Facebook, I don't know. That's just, open rates are not the best thing to use, but for the sake of this, let's just assume that's the bare minimum we want. The next email automation, I might look for actual link click. Now that's a little more serious, if you will. That actually has to be very proactive. Somebody had to do something. And then we can say, well, if they visit a certain page. But for now, this is all I'm looking to have them do. So we could end the automation at this point, but that's not really what we want to do. If they've hit that goal, we want to get them to the second email. So let's put an if statement in here. If else. So let's look at actions again. If they have opened, and guess what? It's going to be the same thing, this, or actions has opened. Okay, so let's start with the no section. So we can, for what we're going to do now, we're just simply going to tag them as not interested. Doesn't mean we're not going to do something with them in the future, but let's just tag them as not interested. So I'm going to go and add a tag. And I've already set this guy up, profile not interested. And over here, let me just get rid of that to make it easier to operate. I'm going to say, okay, so they've done that. Let's move them to another automation. So let's start the next automation. It should be email 2. So what we've done is, whether they hit this goal or not, they're going to pass through here. We're going to check, did they open any of these emails? If they did, let's put them into automation 2. Otherwise, let's tag them as not interested. And then let's go ahead and end this automation. And we're going to do a go to here. Drag it over here. So there. So that accomplishes what we want to do with an autoresponder. Is let's make sure they've done something before they get the next email. Now, the great thing is I can basically copy this and modify it for the next automation. Of course, I'll put in the appropriate emails. I'll tag them with profile email 2. Maybe change up the wait times and maybe have more occurrences, not just 3, maybe 5, maybe 10. I mean, really, you can do as much or as little as you want, but this way you're giving your audience a chance to show that they're engaged. And then over time, given enough people, you can find out where kind of the sticking points are, where people aren't passing through, and then address that so that you've got a well-defined funnel that tells you where people are getting stuck, and then you can figure out what to do from there. So this is a little more advanced way of setting up an autoresponder, and I hope that helps you with your goals.